Are you getting angry about religious pluralism in your civilization? Did you ever think that wasn't helping? I'm Simon Rafe, and I'm taking the hardline. Welcome back to Hardline, the show that complicates your life by making things far simpler than you thought. I'm your host, Simon Rafe, and joining me later to discuss today's topic will be my producer, Joe Enders. And after that, I'll be having a gentleman's chat with Paul Morano, one of our commentary writers here at Church Militant. But now, Ramadan Mubarak. Are you sick and tired of hearing that? How about Happy Kwanzaa, or Blessed Diwali, or Have an Easy Yom Kippur? No, totally, that is not a joke. That is actually a generally accepted greeting for the Jewish Day of Atonement. Are you sick and tired of hearing all these greetings, salutations, good wishes for religious festivals not your own? Do you get annoyed when there's a round robin of holiday decorations outside City Hall, and a bunch of them are for false religions or made-up festivals? Do you grit your teeth and hit delete so fast the pixels barely have time to register on the screen when you get an email from your human resources department talking about the litany of festivals, feasts, celebrations, and holy days happening that month in a dozen different religious traditions, none of which are your own? Do you yell at the TV when the president or governor or congressman with ambition wishes some minority cult in his constituency blessed or happy or fruitful? Or easy, I guess, religious holiday, and it's not yours? Do you find yourself sheepishly looking up the local confession times when you hear the Pope or a bishop or your parish priest encouraging the followers of a false religion on the event of their false religious festival? Although, I guess if it's your parish priest giving that greeting to everyone but his flock, there might not be confession times to go to. I guess my advice is try not to get too upset with your religious leaders doing this. But you can get upset when they do it. That's not the hard line here. If a religious leader, and I would say that applies to all religious leaders, not just Catholics. If a religious leader is endorsing or encouraging or giving the greeting of a festival not his own, he is promoting a faith contrary to his faith, and so he's a bad religious leader. That's obvious. It's okay to be angry about that. Just make sure your anger is righteous and effective. But your fellow citizens? Not your Catholic friends, of course. They shouldn't be promoting false religions. I mean the citizens you meet in the grocery stores and coffee shops and book clubs and bowling alleys. Do people still bowl? They should. They should go bowl, and they should go get a milkshake, and they'll go dance the jitterbug at the sock hop. The world would be a better place. But it's not, alas, and so your fellow citizens and politicians and companies and City Hall and TV stations and social media companies, all of these things are going to promote false religions and give the greetings and let people know it's happening and provide good wishes. This is not ideal. That much is obvious. The world would be better if every man, woman, and child on the planet were not just Catholic, but authentically Catholic. It would be better if every institution, government, and philosophy were Catholic. It would be better if there were no religions other than Catholicism on the planet, that the only attempts to worship God were authentic worship of God. This, more than living your life like you are a character from a 1950s teen romance movie, this would make the world a better place. Insofar as such a thing would be possible, it would make the world as close to perfect as it could be. I'm a Catholic supremacist. I don't apologize for it. But your fellow citizens and politicians and companies and City Hall and TV stations and social media, they aren't Catholic supremacists, and they certainly aren't going to apologize for it. You most likely live in a country which has religious pluralism as a foundational philosophical principle. If you don't, maybe you live in a country which has an official state religion. There are more of them than you think. If your country has an official state religion, the mere fact you are watching this video without the use of some kind of VPN or a very real danger of being hauled off to a re-education camp in the middle of the night shows that the country does, in fact, have religious pluralism in practice. Freedom of religion is a thing. It's not even necessarily a bad thing. In many ways, it's better for people to have the freedom to choose the wrong thing, but nevertheless choose the right thing rather than be forced. Freedom is important and valuable, but it can be misused. And make no mistake, people are misusing it when they and politicians and companies and City Hall and TV stations and social media promote and encourage false religions. You know what? Get over it. Quit being angry and upset about it. It's going to happen. It's a function of the fall and flawed human nature and religious pluralism and tolerance, and it's a function of the world in which we live. You know what isn't a function of the world in which we live? The fact our Catholic festivals get short shrift. Doesn't it seem, and not just seem because we're playing the victim, because we have a martyr complex, but really seem, doesn't it seem that people and politicians and companies and City Hall and TV stations and social media don't speak about Catholic festivals as much as they do others? Oh, sure. You get chocolate bunnies in the stores at Easter, and people do say Merry Christmas, but when was the last time you got an email from HR about Annunciation Day, or Epiphany, or the beginning of Advent, or Immaculate Conception? If you're going to get angry about something, get angry about that. Don't get angry about the fact that some minority religious group managed to lobby and cajole and argue, or maybe just even managed to send an email to someone with a list of their festivals on. Don't get angry that they managed to do it. If anything, give them a grudging respect for good self-promotion. Don't get angry they managed to do it. Get angry you didn't. And then realize you should be angry at yourself. Why doesn't your company include your festivals and celebrations except the socially acceptable, secularized ones that have been co-opted and stripped of meaning in their communications? Why don't the TV stations, politicians, social media, everyone do it? It's not just a question of them hating us, of hating Christians and everything we stand for. Most of these institutions don't have feelings that rise to the level of hate. They are concerned with popularity, expressed as votes and income in the main. Now, if you don't believe me, think back on the whole rainbow flag thing. Every month of the Sacred Heart, the companies switch out their logos for rainbow versions of it and plaster tolerance for sodomy over their corporation like Hebrews splashing the blood of the Lamb on their doorposts. And in July, it's back to your regularly scheduled orgy of capitalism. The same is true for any movement in corporate or political America, or indeed anywhere in the world. They do it only when it's absolutely necessary, and they do it only when it becomes safe for them to do so. And why is it necessary? Why is it safe? Because a sufficiently large body of consumers, of clients, of voters start endorsing it or tolerating it. The downside becomes small and the upside becomes big, or, in some cases, the downside to not doing it becomes big. And that, of course, is the answer. Catholics haven't done this. We've grumbled and muttered about a war on Christmas because people say happy holidays, and we've got upset and angry because some corporate shill or politician's communication office sends out an email wishing us a happy Festivus or whatever. But have we ourselves spoken to the politicians' offices, written to City Hall, provided our corporate HR department with a simple list and explanation of Catholic festivals and pieties? Have we actually lived our Catholic calendar, immersing ourselves in the small devotions that take place over the year? Have we embraced Ember Days and feasts and fasts and decorations and novenas and liturgies? Have we spoken passionately about our faith to people we encounter? Is it obvious to people when they meet us that we are other, that we are different in some way, and so that different has to be explained and understood? Or have we just become quite dull and uninteresting and ordinary and not at all exceptional or different? Because that's what they have done. They, the non-Catholics, they have lived a life different from the majority of people, lived a life in public conformity with what they believe. And they have hustled and lobbied and promoted the practice of their religion in the public square so that people notice and say, we should probably acknowledge that. They're a sufficiently large and vocal and different group of people, they need to be acknowledged. We Catholics have become dull. We've become apparently the same as everyone else. We've become indistinguishable from the lumpen mass of humanity that slumps around the modern world in a sort of drab, Brownian motion. We certainly don't encourage our HR departments to send out an email about Annunciation. We don't ask our politicians to speak about how their Catholic constituents believe the church was born on Pentecost. We don't ask City Hall if we can hold a Michaelmas fair alongside the harvest festivals and Halloween celebrations. We don't act different. We certainly don't look different. All we do, if we do anything, and we barely do that, is grumble and mutter when the big headline festivals are co-opted. Christmas and Easter are reduced to gluttony and presents and chocolate. We chunter paranoid-sounding warnings about Halloween, but we don't celebrate All Saints' Day as we should. And don't get me started on St. Patrick's Day. There, we've become not just indistinguishable, but we've become the very poster boys and champions for booze and green and stupid costumes. You shouldn't be angry about religious pluralism. It's what it is the world you live in, and in all honesty, the practical expressions of it in the public square are totally because all these people have been doing what you should have done, but haven't. Thank you for watching Hardline. If you're enjoying the show, please go to churchmilitant.com for the whole episode. You must be a premium member. So to sign up, go to churchmilitant.com/go premium.